Well, we're so. Yeah, just short. So, Madam Chair and members, Senate Bill 1170 is about ensuring fairness and certainty for the hardworking people that build all the things that we enjoy and maintaining environmental standards that we can all rely on. Senate Bill 1170 ensures that adequate resources are allocated to the pollution prevention planning process by clarifying that public owners are responsible for the preparation of the stormwater pollution prevention plans required on all public works projects. In recent years, some public agencies have transferred design responsibility and risk related to the stormwater construction plan to their contractors. Contractors are thus required to submit a bid without adequate time or information to actually prepare a stormwater prevention plan, resulting in the contractor or the subcontractor being unable to price the actual stormwater plan needed because it has not been designed yet. So SB 1170 addresses this by prohibiting delegation of the stormwater planning to the general contractor. And I have some witnesses that are here to testify. Mr. Ackerman.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, Dave Ackerman representing the Associated General Contractors, one of the sponsors of the bill. Let me make a couple of points, overriding points concerning the bill. I think our author, Senator Wachowski, properly stated the dilemma a contractor faces is at the time you submit a bid on a public works project, you expect to have all of the documents to go into that bid and able to cost that bid. You expect to be presented those documents so that you can give the public agency an accurate price. We're talking here about low bid, to where you don't segregate items through the bid. You basically give a bottom line low bid. You're considered the lowest responsible bidder, and that bidder, once the envelopes is opened, that bidder that has the lowest bid is selected and awarded the project. When you don't have the stormwater plan on the table as part of the plans that you are proposed to bid on, you don't know how to price it. You're supposed to price it. You have to because you're in a low bid situation, and it presents a real dilemma for the contractor. We simply have to guess at what that price is based upon our prior experience. We can be high, we can be low, and it forces us to go into the field to hire what's called a qualified stormwater designer. That's required under the general stormwater permit to the state of California. The contractor doesn't have the ability to design the stormwater plan because they're not qualified to do it, and they're not allowed to do it under the general stormwater permit. If the municipality, as this bill would requires them to do the design, they would do exactly the same thing that they're expecting the contractor to do. They would have to go to a qualified stormwater designer per the general water stormwater permit and have the project designed. Now, there's several instances here that sort of confuse the contractor. There's several code sections that actually we believe the cities, counties, and special districts that are requiring contractors to prepare the plan, we believe that's contrary to existing state law. Under the Public Contract Code, a municipality cannot delegate to a contractor engineering requirements and engineering duties. That's something the public agency has to do themselves. That's provided under Public Contract Code Section 1104. There's also other sections in the Business and Professions Code that require design professionals and not contractors to create these any engineering plans. In order to be a qualified stormwater developer and certified through the State Water Board, you have to possess other licenses that are design type licenses. You can be an architect, you can be a landscape architect, you can be a stormwater control architect, you can be a variety, but you have to have those professional licenses. A contractor has a contractor's license, does not possess one of these other licenses, so we have to go out and hire a qualified stormwater designer to do it. But when we don't have the plan presented to us, Madam Chair and members, we just can't cost it and put it into our bid. And that puts us in an awkward situation of potentially underbidding the cost for the stormwater plan. And since we're in a low bid situation, we have to take those funds from some other source, since public agencies are doing two things for us. Number one, they're putting clauses in their contracts that prohibit change orders against the stormwater plan. So even if we find that the stormwater plan is deficient, we're not permitted to adjust it per the contract with the public agency. The second thing they do, which is very difficult for us, is in order to protect themselves, or they think they're protecting themselves, they force the contractor to sign an indemnification clause as part of the construction contract that even though the general stormwater plan requires the public agency to be the responsible party, they attempt to build a wall between them and the contractor and force the contractor to accept liability, even though the state stormwater permit assesses the responsibility for the stormwater plan on the public agency. And for those reasons, we are strongly in support of the legislation.
Thank you. Next person speaking in support.
Madam Chair, members, Scott Governor here on behalf of the Construction Employers Association. There's actually precedent for this measure. We amended public contract code, I did in 1999 with AB 1314. And at the time, public agencies were assigning responsibility for plans and specifications for buildings to contractors. That ran counter to a 1918 U.S. Supreme Court decision known as the Spearin Doctrine. At the time, the legislature agreed. There was only one no vote, and it became law despite the opposition from those who oppose this today. The law is clear. Contractors can't be responsible for this, and public agencies are skirting that by putting these indemnification clauses in the bill, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Others speaking in opposition, name and affiliation. Support.
Madam Chair, members, Chris Walker on behalf of the California Association of Sheet Metal Air Conditioning Contractors in support of the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Watch out. She's going to turn it on right now.
I'll be real quick. Madam Chair, Todd Bloomstein for the Southern California Contractors Association in support. Simply put here, construction...
If you sat down, you're going to start going.
One sentence. Construction contractors take design specifications and build to those specifications. We're not set up to do design work. We take things and we build them. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Brett Barrow with the National Electrical Contractors Association, the California Legislative Council of Plumbing, Heating, Piping Industry, and United Contractors here in support of the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Bruce Mignani on behalf of the California Precast Concrete Association in support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else speaking in support today? People speaking in opposition?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Tim Borden, Public Works Director for the City of Cupertino, here on behalf of the League of California Cities. Unfortunately, the League, along with other public agencies signed on to our letter, must oppose SB 1170. This bill proposes to alter the longstanding practice consistent with existing law of having the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWIP, for public works projects over an acre in size be prepared by a contractor or their qualified SWIP developer. As the permit holder, the public agency and its vendors have every incentive to ensure compliance with the project SWIP, as the penalty for noncompliance can be steep, up to $37,500 per day per violation. However, a SWIP is a dynamic document that can change from day to day and must reflect the contractor's means and methods of constructing the project. Like a contractor-prepared traffic control plan, the details of this work should not be dictated by the contracting agency prior to understanding the contractor's approach to a project. Dictating the means and methods of how a contractor sequences and approaches a project is overreaching and creates a slippery slope that will lead to very expensive change orders and claims. The general contractor is in the best position to create the construction plan and contract for the corresponding SWIP. A general contractor developed SWIP can incorporate an optimal construction sequence selected by the contractor, thereby maximizing efficiency and reducing costs. The general contractor is best able to proactively update and amend the SWIP based on changing site conditions and phasing. Shifting this responsibility squarely onto the public also adds immediate cost to the project. Given that most agencies do not have a qualified SWIP developer on staff, they also would have to contract out separately for this work. With the benefit of having established relationships to both assess and estimate scope for this work, much less the ability to negotiate for this service like a general contractor could. Furthermore, as the committee analysis points out, the risk for noncompliance with the SWIP may significantly increase with this bill, putting public dollars and public projects at risk, since a contractor that oversees the day-to-day operation of a project and potential water pollution resulting from that project would have less incentive to be compliant with the SWIP. All of this would be on the heels of billions of dollars of backlog in infrastructure investment, with billions of dollars coming in through the water bond and potential school bond. It must be noted that contractors do not have to agree to develop a SWIP when they bid on a project. If the components are too onerous for them, then they have the freedom not to submit a bid. However, it's been my experience that that has not been an issue, and they do build this into their estimates as they know how they are going to phase and commence with the project. While there are plenty of issues that merit increased cost to public works projects, such as accessibility, safety, seismic, environmental standards, the legislature will not provide any benefit to the public by voting for this bill. Ultimately, it will be our ratepayers, taxpayers, and the environment that will stand to lose from this bill. And for these reasons, we strongly urge your no vote. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Mr. Alejo, do you need to talk now, or do you want to wait till? Okay, thank you. Next person speaking in opposition, please.
Madam Chair and members, Don Gilbert for San Francisco Public Utilities Commission in opposition. So first, we've passed out this little handy-dandy Cliff Notes version of the analysis. All it is 3 excerpts from the analysis, which was a very good, thorough analysis with a few highlights there. Before I get into that point, I want to say that one of the witnesses in support talked about how difficult it is to estimate these contracts, et cetera. There's no design, et cetera. And I don't doubt that it's an issue. As with most, I think virtually every contract and subcontract bid one gets, there's always an estimate, there's always exclusions, et cetera. So that's nothing new under the sun. And more to the point, as the analysis points out, the State Water Resources Control Board, ultimately responsible for the water quality of our state, said that this has been going on for a while, and it's just business as usual. It's not an extraordinary thing. And lastly, to that point, you know, this bill has been introduced at least twice now. I've read all the analyses, and I haven't seen a horror story. They've been doing this for a while. I'd like to know how they're injured. Last point, with regard to the support witnesses, one of them said that the law is clear. I think we're here because the law apparently isn't clear, and they want to clarify it in their favor. That's usually why you sponsor a bill. So now getting to 3 points in the analysis that I just want to emphasize. Again, these are points from the analysis. Number 1, on this little handy-dandy sheet that I passed out, describes what the stormwater pollution prevention plan is, and it points out that a SWAP must be developed and maintained throughout the entire construction project. As the project progresses and goes through the changes, the SWAP must be revised to reflect those changes. The point here being that the contractor is in control of the site. For SFPUC, we had almost 100 projects under one of our plans to make our water supply system safe from earthquakes. We could not have possibly done that if this bill was law. Could not have done that. And the bottom line is, if we are trying to manage this site as opposed to the person, if we are trying to manage the plan as opposed to the contractor who manages the site day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, we cannot adequately protect the waterways of the state from stormwater pollution. The contractor does that. The contractor manages everything on the site. I don't think they will come here and tell you that we're not good at managing our site. We don't do that. Number 2, this is also in the analysis on page 2, referring to the Senate Appropriations Committee. According to the Senate Appropriations Committee, unknown significant local costs to cities, counties, special districts, and school districts, potentially reimbursable by the state general fund. Then it continues, this bill could result in significant general fund costs. So where's that going to come from? Whenever I lobby you and your colleagues on the budget, I'm always told I need this. Okay, where's it going to come from, Don? Well, in this case, it's going to come from transportation, it's going to come from health care, it's going to come from housing, or you're not going to have a balanced budget. And it's going to go to the contractors. That's where it's going to come from. That's where it's going to go to, and other budget items. Because according to the Appropriations Committee, there is significant exposure to the general fund. And despite the bill saying this is not a state mandate, unfortunately, a bill cannot override the Constitution of the state of California, which might conclude, the State Mandate Commission might conclude very well, according to that analysis, that it is a state mandate. Therefore, the hits that all your local governments take will end up potentially being reimbursed by the general fund. Lastly, with regard to the analysis, on pages 5 and 6, the bill says, and I think this is perhaps the most important flaw with the bill, SB 1170 would shift full legal responsibility for construction project water quality and make public entities responsible for violations of permit requirements, even if the contractor was at fault for a discharge. Okay? So you get a $500 million public contract, and you want to have your cake and eat it too. When you are at fault, so here's what this means. If this bill became law tomorrow, I'm SFPUC, I bid a $500 contract to one of the sponsors, they get it. They get the contract, $500 million contract.
I want to wrap it up, Mr. Gilbert. I've got a long line.
Okay, real quick. Something happens where this bill's law, I've gone out, contracted to have someone make a swap, design a swap, and implement it. Something happens on the construction site that causes the swap to not work. Our waters get polluted. SFPUC gets fined $37,000 a day until it's repaired. And guess what? Under this bill, even if the contractor was at fault under the law, was liable, was negligent, the contractor's off the hook. I would be supporting this bill, too, if I was a contractor. Thank you.
Thank you. First person speaking in opposition, name and affiliation.
Jimmy McDonald with the California Special Districts Association in opposition.
Ronnie Verdugo with the League of California Cities. We oppose this bill.
Paul Yoder on behalf of City and County of San Francisco and Mayor Edwin Lee. I absolutely want to associate myself with Mr. Gilbert's comments on this bill. Thank you.
Whitney Wiley with the Association of California Water Agencies. Opposed.
Good afternoon. Karen Lang on behalf of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors, the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors, the San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors, and the Western Placer Waste Management Agency, all in opposition. Thank you.
Antonio Farrell with only the Santa Clara Valley Water District in oppose.
Andrew Langley on behalf of Contra Costa County, Marin County, and Riverside County. Thank you.
Jonathan Clay on behalf of the County of San Diego, also in opposition.
Bob Reeb on behalf of El Dorado Irrigation District, opposed.
Ed Behrens on behalf of Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, in opposition.
Dorothy Holzum on behalf of the California State Association of Counties, respectfully opposed.
Julian DeVoris on behalf of the Urban Counties of California, in opposition.
Ian Padilla with the Coalition for Adequate School Housing and the Community College Facilities Coalition, opposed.
Gil Topetti with the California Municipal Utilities Association, opposed.
Okay. Thank you very much. We would now come back to the committee for comments and questions. Mr. Alejo.
Thank you. First of all, a question, then a comment. Just a question for the sponsors, because the opposition pointed out that if a contractor was responsible or negligent or discharged, that somehow they were going to be off the hook. Could you provide us with insight whether that would be true or not under this bill?
No. May I respond, Madam Chair? Again, Dave Ackerman with Associated General Contractors. The bill is specifically designed to focus on the preparation of the stormwater plan, not the implementation and the conduct of complying with the plan. If a contractor is in violation of complying with the stormwater plan and there is a discharge, because the plan has to be approved by the public agency, if the contractor is in violation, the contractor will be liable for penalties up to $37,500 a day. This bill does not change that liability at all.
It's the characterization that forever and ever the contractor will be off the hook is just simply not true. We're talking about the preparation of the plan that's done with the QSD.
And Madam Chair, my colleagues, of course, it's been introduced previously because I was the author of that bill, this bill last year, and it was brought before this committee. And this committee voted 9-0 unanimously in a bipartisan fashion. After hearing the same arguments that we heard today against the bill, the members of this committee, many who are still members of this committee, voted to support this bill. It was held up in appropriations, but policy-wise, this local government committee felt that it was important to address the shifting of responsibility onto someone who's not designing the stormwater aspects of the project. So with that, I'm glad to support it again today, and I'll certainly move this bill today.
Mr. Chu?
Thank you. Let me start by saying I have to admit that I'm extremely conflicted about this bill at this very moment. I'm sympathetic to the suggestion from the contractors that it's very challenging to estimate what we're talking about. But I think when we considered this bill last year, I was not aware of the millions of dollars that our local agencies have believed that this is going to add to cost. And to me, the biggest question is, who is best able to figure out how to minimize costs and to deal with the risk and the liability? And it does seem that there's a decent argument that that is the contractor. Could you respond to that? It seems to me that the public agency is just one step removed from the project, and to ask them to either perform that analysis or get a third party who's not the contractor to do this work, that's what I'm struggling with right now.
So let's start with hiring the QSD. If you want me to hire the QSD, I'm going to make my little profit off of that and pay the QSD the fee. If you hire the QSD directly, you, the city, because I can't do the work. I'm just a contractor. I'm not qualified to do the work in the development of my property. You know, we're the ones. We set these stormwater laws up, and we demand a higher level. This is not some long-standing. This is 4 years or 6 years. We just recently updated. So this long tradition that people are talking about is not a decade old. So again, we're worried about the front end of, here's the site. We don't know about the site. We don't know the hydrology. Sure, the city doesn't know it, but the contractor doesn't know it. They can look at buildings and fire stations and all that and do a pretty good guess on the bid. But this is it's us, the legislature, have put in heightened attention to stormwater and put it in the front of the burner. I don't know if my witness has anything to add.
Mr. Chu, on that, when a contractor is bidding, what we're talking about is preparing the plan, not the implementation of it, but the plan. The contractor, as Mr. Wachowski said, doesn't have the soil samples, doesn't have the other items necessary to do the bid. The public agency will provide those as part of the engineering plan, but what the public agency does is they give the contractor everything that the contractor needs to provide a bid. They give them the engineering plans, they give them probably a grading plan for the project, and the likes of the contractor can price it. They don't do the stormwater plan. The reason the stormwater plan is a problem here, it's not a liability for the public agency because they are already required by the general stormwater permit process of the state of California. They are the responsible agency to develop the stormwater plan. They have to do it. It's their responsibility. They're trying to push it off on the contractor and indemnify themselves against that. And that's not right.
I'd love to hear from Mr. Gilbert, if that's okay. I'm sorry, this is the first time I've been able to see the two parties directly addressing each other's contentions. Is that with the
It's not my pleasure, but please, okay. Mr. Gilbert, go ahead.
Since it's not your pleasure, Madam Chair, I'm going to be extremely brief. We are on the permit. We're still liable. If they are negligent or in any way cause pollution to the state to occur, we will get fined, etc. We want to be able to go after the negligent party. Under this bill, we can't.
Wrong. You're just wrong.
The analysis says.
You're wrong.
Okay, so this will remain a contentious issue. I have said I know people have different feelings on this committee. People are welcome to vote for it if they want. I personally don't think it's good public policy. I will not be voting for it today. In addition to my authorized additional unit, I've recently had a house remodel, right? So when they come out to do the bid, the contractor comes, he brings the floor guy, he brings the window guy, he brings the plumber guy, he brings all those expert people to bid my job, right? This is our public works that you are coming, nobody's saying, you must do this. People are saying, this is a public process to bid. Would you like this job? Then you bid on it. If you're like I used an example yesterday, if you're bidding on a high rise, then you better have a crane, right? Or you don't bid on the darn high rise. Same kind of issue. I think everybody should encourage young people to become a qualified stormwater designer, right? Because either the city has to hire one or people who are out bidding contracts. If you want to bid a public works contract where this is a component, then you would have a qualified stormwater person go out and take a look and say, we think it's going to cost about this much. So that's, I mean, we can debate this. Would you like to hear from anybody else, Mr. Chu?
I greatly appreciate your perspective, Madam Chair. If I do have just one question, which is, I have not heard of examples of how this is played out, right? That contention's been raised, how this really plays out for contractors and what that math looks like, and I'm not sure why we haven't heard examples of that in the process. Could you elaborate on them?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I can give you a couple of examples that from all the
And we asked for that repeatedly.
And it doesn't deal with home improvements. But with all the witnesses that testified against it, you think every city in the state does it contrary to the way this bill would require. That's wrong. We have several examples, recent ones that are excellent. One, if any of you have flown in and out of the San Diego airport recently, you'll notice there's a car rental facility right across from the airport between the main highway and Mission Bay. Very sensitive for stormwater runoff, as you can imagine. In that case, the city of San Diego, the airport authority, specifically designed the stormwater plan because they wanted it done a particular way and handed it to the contractor to bid. We did not have a problem with that bid at all because the city designed a very well-designed, perfect stormwater plan for the project that they designed, along with a rental car facility. City of Escondido, the same thing. I have examples from the city of Escondido to where they designed the stormwater plan exactly as they wanted. They did put indemnifications to protect themselves against the contractor's implementation of the stormwater plan, not the design of the plan, but the implementation. And our bill, I still contend, makes no change and does not undermine the contractor's liability. If they fail to adhere to the stormwater plan and there's a discharge on the site, the owner can go back after the contractor and collect those fines and penalties. This bill does not protect the contractor for discharges on the site. The only thing we're dealing with is the preparation of the stormwater plan, not its implementation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gilbert, would you like to respond?
Madam Chair, I'm just going by the analysis. This bill could result in significant general fund costs. I didn't interrupt you, and I did read the bill.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much, gentlemen. Any further questions, comments from the committee? The bill has been moved.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just to clarify, the bill treats contracts that use design, build, best value, or construction manager at risk procurement methods in a different way. Is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, those specific contracting methods are exempted because under those methods you put a team together. That team would include the qualified stormwater designer as part of the team. In fact, in those, the project is designed under design-build methodology by putting a design team together. We're talking with this bill about just low bid, where you have a single dollar amount that you put at the bottom of your bid when you submit it.
Okay. I served 14 years in local government, and it's always been a bone of contention, really. But what I found was no matter who designed it, the agency always, as the deep pocket, gets the lawsuit handed to them. So, and they go back and forth and try to push it on one or the other. So, I mean, it is, as our colleague Mr. Chu said, a delicate issue. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Was that your close, Mr. Wojciechowski?
In the spirit of the Spirin doctrine, I would urge an aye vote.
Okay, thank you.
Spirin doctrine, that's
the bill's been moved. And seconded. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass, and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Eggman.
No.
Eggman, no. Waldron. Aye. Waldron, aye. Alejo.
Aye.
Alejo, aye. Bonilla. Bonilla, aye. Chu.
Not voting this time.
Chu, not voting. Cooley. Gaines. Gaines, aye. Gordon.
No.
Gordon, no. Linder.
Okay.
Thank you very much. 4-2, you need one more vote to get out. Senator Hertzberg.
It's your last year.
Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. What do you want? Which one? We're doing the Treasurer's Office one first?
Maybe this one first?
This one first. Whatever.
This enjoys a due pass with the acceptance of the amendments.
Yes. Accepted. Thank you. I'll make it fast. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for...
Okay. Oh, you're doing 1029 first? I'm sorry.
1029 first.
Okay, sorry.
You gonna move
That was
one
a due
too?
pass, no amendments. Yeah, due pass, no amendments. Still have a motion.
You can still have the motion, okay.
Okay, good.
Does that mean you're not coming? It's like the Jewish joke. Any event, it's the old story. Just real quickly, Madam Chair, and thanks for your graciousness, and I really look forward to working with you and coordinating as best as we possibly can with respect to overlapping jurisdictions, and I think we're a lot on the same page on stuff, so I'm excited about that. I really am. I personally just want to share that with you, and thank you. So about, I don't know, when was it, a year and a half ago or so, there was this controversy that happened in San Francisco where somebody who was running a bond authority was able to steal money, right? And so our Senate committee our staff did an investigation of that, and the Treasurer's office, John Chung's office, put together a task force to try to figure out what happened and what can we do to fix it, right? And this measure is the result of those efforts, basically trying to set up a process of reporting adopting certain debt policies, reporting outstanding money and what's left over, where the money was spent, and because that's what happened. He was able to take surplus money and move it into accounts, putting under phony names and stuff. So I think we pretty much plugged the loop in all of this. And, you know, one of the issues that was brought to my attention just now as I was sitting through your long hearings, because I was trying to be productive, was this notion of there's some
That wasn't my
overlap
fault,
and duplicate. I mean, on my bill, not on your. Not to say you weren't productive, but bottom line is that there's some duplicate, there's some other governmental entities that are worried that there's duplicative reporting, and I think we can certainly work this out during the break, because I certainly do not want to have extra work and duplicative work. What we're trying to do is to create a process to make sure this doesn't happen again and to learn from the mistakes of the past. So I think that's workable to basically include and require the Treasurer to avoid duplication of reporting to ensure that we've met the goals that the committee is trying to do. Alan Gordon, representing the State Treasurer, is here.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the committee, just to reiterate what the Senator said, this came to us from a very problematic situation at ABAG. Gentlemen stole a lot of money. The primary function of this is that when folks vote for school bonds, local bonds, they really don't have any way of finding out how the money's been spent. And what this sets up is essentially a open government reporting requirement that you will, going forward, new bond issuances, what was issued, how much was sold that year, how much was spent, what it was spent on. Senator Hertzberg has been wonderful, along with working with CSAC and the League on this. We have a couple of minor things we need to work out for clarification. We've worked out most of the opposition going forward, and we would ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person speaking in support.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Karen Lang on behalf of the California Association of County Treasurers and Tax Collectors. A lot of local taxes are collected on our bills. We get a lot of questions about them. Transparency always helps explaining to the taxpayers what's on there and why. We are a dry vote. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Next person speaking in support, briefly.
Chair members, Matthew Gannon here on behalf of the Little Hoover Commission. This bill, we're in strong support of it. It carries out a recommendation from our 2009 report on bond oversight.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Anybody else speaking in support today? Just name and affiliation.
We are the tweeners, unfortunately.
Okay.
So,
tween on.
Dorothy Holzman with the California State Association of Counties. As the author and sponsor mentioned, we've been having a really collaborative approach to this bill, and we do have a few remaining issues that we think will help the implementation and really the goals being achieved by this bill. So we look forward to continuing that conversation, and at this time have no position. Thank you.
Dylan Gibbons, Special Districts Association, same position. Just thank the author and the Treasurer's Office for working with us and their commitment to continuing to work with us.
Great. Okay.
Tracy Ryan, Royal County Representative of California. I'd like to align myself with the colleagues and thank the author for working with us.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in formal opposition?
You can't oppose unless amended in that category? Okay. Laura Preston with the Association of California School Administrators. One of the things that I want to make the committee aware of is, in school district world, we are local government, but we are quite different in many ways. We have a bond oversight committees already established for our bonds. We have a county office of education that we report to with all of our financial issues. They oversee our financial, for school districts, for our financial budgets and the bonds and everything else that we do. So it's not that we don't want to provide this information. It's that we want to be able to provide the information that we're already collecting in the way that we're collecting it. Because under the bill as it is going to be quite comprehensive and convoluted for school districts to put together the information in the way that it's being required. We've had issues with the controller before and with the treasurer's office when we're trying to deal with school districts, just simply from the fact that we are different enough in how we account for things. Not in any way trying to say that we're not about transparency, but that we want to be able to have the bill accommodate us for the way we produce our information so it's not duplicative. Thank you.
Ian Padilla with Coalition for Adequate School Housing, and I would associate my position with the position of my colleague. Again, not trying to get out of transparency. We would like to report and not duplicate the information that we have reported for a while. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else speaking in opposition today? Okay. Questions, comments from the committee?
Oops. Okay.
Would you like to close, Senator?
Please support this bill.
This bill does enjoy a do pass recommendation. Now would be an appropriate time for a motion.
It was moved, wasn't it?
Oh, we had one. Oh, we had.
Yeah.
The Secretary, call the roll.
We have an evergreen motion on Hertz's birthday.
That's right. Both bills.
The motion is do pass, and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Eggman.
Aye.
Eggman, aye. Waldron.
Aye.
Waldron, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bonilla. Chu. Chu, aye. Cooley. Gaines. Gaines, aye. Gordon. Gordon, aye. Linder. The bill's